said, because I think it's one I've always wanted to ask you if I ever had the chance to interview. But it's, I hear that you frequent, like I said, there's a lot of the comic sites, Superhero Hype, Ain't It Cool. I remember visiting some of those sites in the early days of the first film. I remember one quote that said, called it the Black-tastic Four, when you were being put on, you know, it's like a reference to you doing barbershop and stuff like that, which obviously I thought was ridiculous. You know, that director's not going to make an earth.
Exactly.
But I think because you cast Jessica Alba, they were thinking of the film Machine Honey or something. Did that affect you at all, the kind of, was it hard to deal with the fanboys initially and the criticisms and...
No, I even remember getting booed at Comic-Con when I first went out.
No way.
Oh, yeah. And I knew people were going to have this reaction because, you know, my resume didn't show I could do something like this. And, you know, of course, when you start thinking about Jessica Alba, you start thinking about Kerry Washington as Alicia, you know, they think you're going to, oh my God, you can't make the Fantastic Four, everybody black. Yeah, you know, put the back building Harlem or something like that. It was one of those situations where, you know, I knew they were going to have this reaction. So all you could do is kind of, and I remember Avi and Kevin telling me, it's like, stay off the web, you know, they're not going to be, it's not like I have the resume of a James Cameron and they're going to go, yes, this is what we've been waiting for. You know, the reason why they chose me is because I was a different voice, and from Barbershop, which I agreed, what I was able to do in Barbershop was kind of the base for what the Fantastic Four had to be. They had to be ensemble. Ensemble. They had to be yelling at each other and at the same time saving the world. And I just found that I felt confident about what I could bring to the table. And I think at the end, you know, it was, you have to expect that, you know, deal with it, and to a certain degree not deal with it. Just make the best movie you can, and you're going to either win over the fans or not. And in doing this, you just go for it. You just don't let it get to you. Don't read too much of it. And I knew what I was going to do, so it wasn't, you know, as you read this kind of stuff, oh, he's going to make the whole cast black or something like that. I knew I wasn't going to, so it didn't, you know, you kind of go, you know, the one thing you want to say to these guys every now and then, because you do appreciate the passion, but you want to say, guys, wait and see. I remember somebody wrote me on my MySpace page, and they went through this rant. They wrote like 2 long paragraphs about how they weren't going to see the movie, and the movie was going to be terrible because it was 90 minutes long, because they heard it was 90 minutes long. And I'm just going, and I wrote them back, and normally I can't write back, because once I get into that, it just takes too much of my time. But I wrote back and said, so does that mean every movie that's over 2 hours long is great? Yeah. You know, it's like, it was kind of like one of those, what are you talking about? Just wait until you see the movie. It's like, how
the thing's brow.
The thing's brow. And I told, and you know what I've said many times with the brow, we wanted to make it bigger, but the big problem we had with it originally when we started doing that is it hid Chickless's eyes. And his whole performance, and any actor's performance, is in their eyes. And I didn't want to keep putting light like, what's the character from the Addams Family where he has the light on her eyes? I didn't want to keep doing that, so you kind of, the fanboys, what I do appreciate is the passion, and I try to sometime, in them writing whatever they write about me, whether it's negative or not, I try to take from that what they mean and not always what they say. So
is it difficult because you've got your vision as a filmmaker, the studio's vision, and the fans? You know, it must be a really difficult process to get out the Fantastic Four. I've grown up reading the comics. I've probably got several movies in my head. You've probably done the same, but you're the only one who gets a chance to make it. Is that like a strange position to be in?
Not really. I find it, I'm very comfortable with doing what I need to do, and I also, you know, knowing that this material is already beloved by so many different people, and so many generations we're talking about 40 plus years here.
Long time.
I understand the responsibility of taking the spirit from as much as I can, and in some cases, dead on. Whenever I can do that, I always try to err towards the comic books, but I never get clouded by whose vision. You know, it's my vision, but I always listen to the powers that be. You know, Fox, Marvel, those are my partners, and I make it a point to hear them out. And if I'm passionate about a certain direction, then I gotta fight for that direction. But for the most part, I always really, really listen, because I'm still learning how to make films.